for generations.
Extreme genes, extreme genes.
Dates in the Bible don't quite match the marriage certificate.
Extreme genes, extreme genes.
Uh-oh.
And you have found us, Extreme Genes, America's family history show, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. This segment of the show is brought to you by myheritage.com, and we've got a great one today. CNBC anchor Bill Griffeth is going to be on the show today. He's the author of a new book being published by the New England Historic Genealogical Society called The Stranger in My Genes. That's GENES, by the way. Don't get confused. And he talks about his discovery through a DNA test that his cousin kind of pushed on him that resulted in Bill finding that his father was not his father, and what that experience was like, how he had been a researcher of the Griffith family for generations, and how he had to deal with that, and, of course, a new family that came into his life in the middle of his life. So we'll be talking to Bill coming up in about 7 minutes or so. And later on in the show, Tom Perry also will be talking about digitizing your audio cassettes. This is an interesting thing, a little more complicated than anybody would have thought that it might be. Just a reminder, by the way, you can sign up for our free Extreme Genes newsletter, The Weekly Genie. Go to extremegenes.com. And all our shows are now searchable. Yeah, we're transcribing them all. So if you hear something on the show that maybe Tom Perry talks about and you want to find it, just search Tom Perry and those terms, and it should bring you right up to the Extreme Genes episode that you're looking for. Well, right now, let's head out to Boston and my good friend, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org. It's David Allen Lambert. Hello, David.
Live from Beantown. How are you, my friend?
Good, bud. What do you have for our family histoire news today?
Well, I have some explosive news from the coast of South Carolina, where the U.S. Air Force explosive team had to actually evaluate what they called the old Civil War ordnance that happened to wash ashore.
Oh, wow.
People like to metal detect and find musket balls and buttons, but if you find any cannonballs, you may want to be a little more cautious before you toss them in a bucket and throw them in your truck.
Yes.
They actually had to destroy these on the beach. 15 cannonballs surfaced from South Carolina coast, and they were detonated by the Air Force.
And this all had to do with Hurricane Matthew, of course.
Absolutely. So who knows what might else wash up on the shores from the Civil War? Maybe a boat or two.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the other news is military related, and that goes out to Germany, where they found the remains of a downed U.S. fighter pilot. First Lieutenant Ben Barnes disappeared in December of 1941 when he didn't return to his base back in England. Back at his hometown in Miller, South Dakota, this weekend they will be burying with honors this lost son who was killed overseas.
Unbelievable. All these years later.
I'll tell you, the stories from the community said that he was quite a barnstormer flying around. Local school kids used to watch him fly by. So it's nice to see that he's brought home 70-odd years later.
Yes.
Another World War II story. We have very few people that say that they reported on the news, but an actual cub reporter from England, a 105-year young Claire Hollingworth, was a reporter for Britain's Telegraph back in 1939 when she broke the news that World War II had begun.
Wow. The one who broke the story is 105, still with us.
Happy birthday, Claire. Speaking of longevity, I always say that I need another lifetime to complete all the genealogy work I'm doing. I'm sure you feel about the same.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in luck because researchers are now saying that we could potentially all live to maybe about 120.
Really?
Yeah. So, you're putting off all of these projects. Don't worry. You might live long enough to actually do them all.
I think they're saying the furthest end we could live is 125, although nobody's ever actually done it. We had, what was her name?
Jean Calment.
Yeah,
yes.
Jean Calment back in the 1990s. She died at 122 as the oldest documented person. And I think there's another one currently living that may have even exceeded that.
Well, I'm very excited about your guest, Bill Griffith, who's a longtime friend and obviously the author of Stranger in My Genes, which has been very popular. And for those listeners that are out in Massachusetts, you can meet Bill on October 22nd when we have DNA Day. He's one of our speakers out in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm always trying to think of interesting things for tips to give. And this one actually I came up with while sitting on the train coming home from Boston. And I did a pedigree chart that showed the age of each one of the ancestors when they died. Just write the number in and kind of compare it. Here's another idea. Why don't you put down between the husband and the wife how many children they had and see what the numbers look like?
Interesting.
Take a peek at Extreme Genes on Twitter and DL Genealogist. I'll put an example up just in time for the show's launch for you to take a peek and give it a try. American Ancestors always has a free guest user database. This week is no exception. And we go south of the border, way down to Argentina, where we are now hosting on our website, free to guest users, the Argentine baptisms from 1645 to 1930. So we're very happy to have the partnership with FamilySearch.org. That's about all I have for you this week. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much, David. By the way, I found an incredible lithograph online. It showed a place of business of my ancestors in New York City in 1848. And this is the coolest thing, and I think this applies to everybody, and maybe you've run across a few places like this. I haven't, but the New York Public Library, if you have ancestry there, you're going to find that they're actually hosting a place where you can download at various DPI all these different lithographs from the 19th century. They're all copyright free. So I took this one that I had found and did the highest possible DPI, took it to a Photoshop, and they have made a 33 by 20 inch print of this thing for me. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm waiting for the framers to finish up with it right now. But it's incredible that you can do that. And I'm hopeful that there are other public libraries, maybe in the South, in the West, in the Midwest, out in Hawaii, that can provide that kind of service for us for out-of-copyright lithographs from your area.
It's amazing. In fact, in Boston, we're very lucky that the Leventhal Map Center at the Boston Public Library has a great atlas and map collection, and for free. Exactly. You can download these high DPI images and color and print them off. Great holiday gifts.
Yeah,
for free.
Really good stuff. Thanks so much, David. Good to talk to you. Talk to you again next week.
Talk to you soon, my friend.
All right. And coming up next, we're going to talk to the CNBC anchor Bill Griffith about the stranger in my genes, how he discovered that his father wasn't his father through a random DNA test. His story coming up next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Legacy Tree Genealogists is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've been working with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins or heirs to property. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476. Call now or register online to get a free estimate. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries. legacytree.com.
You know, everybody needs a place of their own to plant their family tree, preferably one that no one else can mess with and only you can control. That perfect place is Roots Magic. Roots Magic has been a family history standard for years, and now Roots Magic 7 is on the market. It's an award-winning genealogical software program which makes researching, organizing, and sharing your family history easy. You can start from scratch or import data from other software, or even Family Search. Roots Magic also automatically finds records relating to your ancestors from MyHeritage, Family Search, and soon Ancestry and Find My Past. You can use it to create beautiful charts, reports, and books. And have you ever thought about making your own family history website? Roots Magic can make that happen too. And of course, there are free videos, guides, and technical support to help you along. Isn't it about time you planted your family tree? Whether you're a beginning genie or experienced professional, Roots Magic is the perfect tool for you.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Welcome back to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth. And it wasn't long ago that my good friends at the New England Historic Genealogical Society sent me a book that they have published. I will tell you right now, it is a great read, a fast read and an intriguing one, and one that just scared me to death. It's called The Stranger in My Genes. It's written by Bill Griffeth, and you may very well know Bill from all his years on television with a financial news network with CNBC. He sits next to the lovely Maria Bartiromo in the afternoons, and Bill is on the line with me right now. Bill, welcome to Extreme Genes. It's just a pleasure to have you on the show.
God, I love your show and your whole website, the whole genie concept, and it's a great pleasure to be with you today. Thanks for having me on.
I'll tell you what, I read your book and it scared me to death. I started thinking about my own DNA results, and I thought, do I have matches that confirm that my dad was my dad? And then I thought, oh, yeah, that's right. There's some from his mother's side.
You wouldn't be the first to feel that way. I mean, that's one response I've been getting is, and I'm glad for that, when people read the book, they internalize it. They look to their own story and wonder what the possibilities are. That's been a great response.
Well, and I kind of ached for you as I read this because you started in genealogy, about 12, 13 years ago? Exactly. And you wrote books and you traveled the world and you did the things that all good genies do to find the stories of their ancestors. And I don't know if you published those books or just made them available for your own family, but nonetheless, obviously you were very engaged with your ancestors. You knew who they were and their effect on your life. And then all of a sudden, things change.
Indeed. In fact, I did publish one of the books because as soon as I started tracing my family's history, I realized that my family and its history faithfully traced the evolution of American Protestantism. So I published a book called By Faith Alone that was about my ancestors. It was sort of the history of American Protestantism, but through the eyes of my ancestors as they migrated from England to the colonies back in the 16 and 1700s. So that book came out in 2005 or 6. Now it sits in the library of the New England Historic Genealogical Society, and after I got my DNA test result back, I went to the CEO of the society and I said, do me a favor, would you move that book from the nonfiction section to the fiction section and make a terrific novel now?
Oh, dear.
Those people are not my ancestors, really.
Wow. You got into this. You found a cousin who said, hey, you got to do the DNA test. You got to spit in the cup.
The first cousin of mine, my cousin Doug, his father and my father were brothers, and he got into genealogy about the same time I did. We've worked together. We've gone on a few ancestor hunts together in different parts of the country. But his journey took him more into DNA testing. He's more scientifically oriented than I am, and I didn't know the first thing about any of that, but he encouraged me to take a DNA test so that he could compare any differences that may exist in our genes to help him understand our family's history a little better. I mean, this is what he told me. I took his word for it. So
sure.
I finally, in August of 2012, I took a DNA test, and I sent it in, and I said, you handle it from here. I don't know what it's all about. Eventually, he said they got a weird result back, so he asked them to retest it. And then in October of 2012, he sent me an email that informed me that my father wasn't my father. It was a day I will never forget, that is for sure.
Well, that just has to be a blow in the gut, especially because I'm sure you were very close to your father, as many of us are. And,
Absolutely.
And Dad's gone. And yet the strange thing about it is your life's the same. You're married to the same person. You have your children. You have your career. You have your identity. But your world is just shaken to the core because of the fact that suddenly your chemistry doesn't match that of your father. Isn't that remarkable?
It is. I have another cousin, a woman who lives in Florida now. She's retired, and she said just the same thing that you just said, because I poured my heart out to her, and she said, but look, nothing has changed. Yes and no. Yes,
yeah.
I still have all the same things. But a fundamental truth that we carry with us, whether we realize it or not, is you can take away your career, you can take away your possessions, and you'll still be the same person. The fundamental truth we carry with us is our family and who our relatives are. That cannot be taken away, but shockingly, that was taken away from me as I view it. My father was not my father. The man that I believed to be my father was not my father. So that really shook the foundations of my view of myself, and I really had to reevaluate everything all over again.
Well, and I think we need to emphasize to people who are maybe just getting started in genealogy that DNA is not the only place where you can get surprises. There are.
That's for sure. I mean, there are a lot of surprises lurking in records all over the place. I said in the book that family histories rarely give up their secrets willingly. You have to really hunt them down to find them.
That's right.
They're out there. They're out there. That's what part of the fun of genealogy, by the way. I asked Tim Sullivan, the CEO of Ancestry.com, when we were talking about all of this. I said, I couldn't articulate for you in a single sentence why I love genealogy as much as I do. So what was his version of it? And he says it's just the process of discovery. That discovery is a strong emotion for all of us. And when we discover things about our own families, about our own history, our personal history, that can evoke a very strong emotion, and I agree with him on that.
Well, I talked to a gentleman the other day who said to me, I discovered as I got into this that this wasn't about them, these dead people that are back there. This is about me.
Exactly.
And once he came to that realization, then it took on an entirely new meaning, and I think that's the case for many people.
I really came to know my ancestors, my Griffith ancestors, as if they were still alive today. I mean,
yes.
My wife and I visited those parts of the country where they lived back in the 17 and 1800s, and I came to know them as well as I know my own relatives today. And, initially when the DNA test came out, I just felt like they'd been ripped away from me. I'm in a different place now, I should point out. I've gone through all of the different emotions of grief as it's been identified.
Sure.
I went through denial, and I went through depression, I went through anger, but I'm truly at the acceptance part right now. This was 4 years ago when this happened, and I really accept it. And I'm at a point where I can still view my Griffith family history as my own, because that's what I grew up with. I'm still a Griffith. That's not going to change.
Question: did you need to go through some counseling for that?
No. I did visit my physician because I knew I needed some help, and he said to me, I've got two choices for you. He could help me find a psychologist who could help me work through it, or he could give me some medications to help me. And I said, I really need the medication. I need help now. I don't need the long-term thing. And so I went the medical route with medicine for a little while. But no, I never did the counseling. I worked through it on my own.
Well, and at the time, of course, you had to work. You had to be on the air every day.
That rather demanding day job, too, that I had to fulfill. Yeah.
Well, and let's talk about the day that you got this result. Just walk us through it. You're on the job at the point that you got this information. It was an email from your cousin. Yeah. What did it say, and just what did it do to you at that moment? And were you confident in what he said, or did you doubt?
I was sitting in the CNBC newsroom in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and it was just afternoon. I was sitting at my desk having lunch. I was having a sandwich, and I was going over the wires, getting ready for that day's show. And I checked my personal email, and there was one from my cousin Doug, and it said retest results are in. And as I mentioned, he had told me a month before that they got a weird result, and he asked for them to retest it. So now the retest results were in, and so I opened the email, and it says, "Deep breath now." He's preparing me.
Yeah.
Our Y chromosomes, the haplogroup, if you know,
sure.
DNA, my haplogroup was not the same as his, and our haplogroups should have been identical since we were first cousins. So my haplogroup was not what was expected, and he closed it by simply saying, your father was not your father. Well, how do you respond to that? As I say in the book, my body responded before my mind could. I mean, I just felt this out-of-body experience as if I was floating suddenly. I couldn't feel the phone in my hand that had the email. I couldn't feel the chair I was sitting in. I was still in the newsroom, but I might as well have been 1,000 miles away because I just really had this surreal experience when I got that. And then when my mind kicked in, it was absolutely denial right away. I said, there has to be something wrong here. So I wrote back to Doug and I said, you'll understand if I'm skeptical of these results, I plan to take another test just to get a second opinion on all of this, and we'll learn what the real truth is. So, it was total denial at that point, absolutely. It would be for anybody, I guess.
So how long after you got that email did you have to go on national television?
Well, that was at 12:30 in the afternoon. I was on the air at 3 o'clock, so a couple of hours. We went back and looked at the tape from that day, and I guess I looked normal, but I have to tell you that I was in a fog the rest of that day. I really don't remember that day. And in fact, that evening I was emceeing a big dinner in New York City. We were honoring some alumni from the Wharton Business School of the University of Pennsylvania. And I don't remember that night either. The rest of the day is a total fog after that. I don't know how I got through it, but I did somehow.
He's Bill Griffith from CNBC. He's the author of The Stranger in My Genes, published by the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Bill, hang on. Let's talk to you for another segment. I want to find out where this went and how it developed as you found your new family. Coming up in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. This segment has been brought to you by Roots Magic.
Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Havorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks. Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
And we are back. Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show, and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here, and I'm talking to Bill Griffith, the CNBC anchor, author of The Stranger in My Genes, about his experience of getting a DNA test back through a cousin that said, hey, Bill, guess what? Your dad's not your dad, and you're on the air in just a few hours. Good luck with that. And what a day.
That's how it happened.
And you went on then, Bill, to actually reach out to try to find your, I guess you'd say your birth family, of course. And of course, you had to confront your mother, too, who was still living at that time. And you had that choice of how am I going to shake her world? And if I don't, what does that do to me if I don't get that answer, if I don't find out before she's gone?
You know, I'm very lucky, Scott, that my mom is still around. She's 98 years old now, and she was 94 at the time. And I have to say that you really haven't lived until you've heard your mother have to confess to a fling of some sort. You know, I really, really wrestled with whether I was going to present this information to her or not. I don't want this to define her final days, but I had no choice. If I was going to get answers, I spoke with my brother about this at length. There was a time when I said, I don't want to pursue this any further. I don't want to trouble Mom with it. But as my brother said, you know, what if you want answers eventually and she's gone? What are you going to do? And what about your children? They're going to need answers down the road. I was asking her not just on my own behalf, but of future generations as well. We really needed to know the truth. So I presented her with a DNA evidence, and, you know, she took it like a champ. She admitted that she had made a mistake when she was younger, and that was that. I will say, we don't talk about it anymore, she and I. We've made peace over it. She knows that I need to tell my own story, but she doesn't want to talk about it anymore, and I respect that. She's of a different generation, a different time, and while people are willing to talk about all of this today, she comes from a time when they were not. I insulate her from all of this, and while she knows about the book and she's fine with it, she just doesn't want to talk about it anymore. So I learned from her some of the basic details of how it all came about, and then God bless my wife, Cindy. She's the one who really took the ball and ran with it, because for months, I was in denial, and I really was in the fetal position. I didn't want to deal with this. So Cindy ran with it, and she found as much information as she could about my biological family. So I thank her so much for helping me get through all of that.
You said something, though, here a moment ago that made me think. Your mom said, I made a mistake.
Yes.
Now, in your frame of mind, when you heard that, what did that do for you?
Yeah, I did a lot of ruminating about that in the book. I heard her say, I made a mistake, but what I didn't hear her say was, I'm glad I made the mistake, because I'm the result of that mistake. I think that, like a lot of people who may make this same discovery, there's a lot of soul searching that goes on, and I was angry at the world, and I was angry at her, and I was angry at my biological father. But really, when you think about it, as shocked as I was to learn about the circumstances that led to my birth, I'm also eternally grateful, because let's face it, if those two people hadn't made that mistake, I would not be here today. So it's a classic dilemma that I face. The only takeaway I have from this is to be grateful about it. I mean, I'm here, I'm alive, so I'm thankful.
And you're making contributions, and you've got children, and they're going on, and it just continues from there. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So you've run into a lot of people who have had similar experiences, no doubt, as a result of this book. Tell us about some of the stories you're hearing.
That has been the big eye-opener for me, Scott, is almost immediately after the book came out in September, I heard from people who knew of other people who had similar experiences, or they had their own experiences in their family. I'll tell you a couple of examples. One man received a DNA testing kit for Christmas, and he took the DNA test, and long story short, he discovered a daughter that he didn't know he had. You know, Merry Christmas.
Right.
There's a gift that keeps on giving. Another man took the DNA test, and he was an only child. He discovered that he had been adopted, and he had been an avid genealogist for many years, and while I've been able to accept it, this man did not, and he spent 15 years doing exactly what I did with my wife, traveling the country, doing all of the family history research, and when he discovered that he had been adopted, he felt deceived by it all. and he took all of that research and he donated it away. He just gave it away. He gave up on genealogy altogether. It's been really heartbreaking for me to know about that. One more story. A woman reached out to me through Twitter. She wrote to me that she'd finished the book, and she was relieved to know that she was not alone in this world. She learned 18 months ago that her father was not her father. She has not been able to tell a single soul. She said, I am the first person she's been able to tell. She has a husband, she has children, they don't know, and they still don't know to this day. She and I are still corresponding, and I've encouraged her to journal. I've encouraged her to tell somebody, anybody. You cannot do this alone. You have to unload this burden that you suddenly have if you're going to get through this. So she's still harboring this great secret and keeping it from those who are closest to her, but I think eventually she'll get around to telling somebody. So these are the kinds of stories I'm hearing right now, and it's amazing. I just think that there are so many people out there we don't know about who have a similar circumstance. I'm just the one who was dumb enough to write a book about it.
I don't think so. Well, that had to be, kind of balm of Iliad, as they say, for you. Yeah. To write the book and get it all down, right?
It was very cathartic. I mean, I tend to journal. I don't keep a daily diary, but I tend to journal when important things happen in my life, when my father passed away, when my children were born, and so forth. So I was journaling like mad after I got that DNA test. And really the book, The Stranger in My Genes, is an evolved version of that journal. And between my wife and the journal, those are the two things that really helped me get through this, because she was so supportive and helpful in finding information about my biological family, and the journal helped me just kind of relieve the angst that I was feeling.
Sure.
So I encourage anybody, if you're going through this, reach out. It'll be a difficult first step, but you got to be able to tell somebody and get your feelings on paper. Just pour it out, get it out of your system, because it's so healthy to do that.
So I wanted to ask you, I'm thinking as we look forward, I think we're going to see a lot more of this with DNA, and I'm sure you would agree, especially as we look back to the sexual revolution of the 60s and 70s, right?
Yes, absolutely. I just think that DNA testing is going to have a profound impact, not only on biotechnology and medicine. It's already having an impact there, but I think it's going to have a profound impact on our social culture. I'll tell you a quick funny story. When I did the Today Show in late September after the book came out, Al Roker, I've known Al for many years, and he spotted me in the hallway at NBC there in New York City, and he came running over and saw my book, and he yelled, "The Stranger in My Genes," or "What We've All Did in the 1970s." That sort of encapsulates in a funny way the story. The secrets will come out. Back then, who knew that DNA testing would become a reality? But it has, and I think it's going to bring up a lot of secrets that have been buried for a long time.
Well, it's The Stranger in My Genes, Genes. Yeah. The author is Bill Griffith, the CNBC anchor. Bill, it has been a joy to talk to you, and thank you so much for coming on to the show. We wish you the best of luck with the book and of this ongoing story and its development. We look forward to hearing more resolution with that, and hopefully finding out about some of the biological relatives you may meet down the line.
Yes, I think someday I'll be able to reach out to that. Scott, it's been a great pleasure. I'm a big fan of yours, as I said, and the whole Genie organization you've formed there. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Thanks so much, Bill. And this segment has been brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And coming up next, we talk preservation with Tom Perry from TMCPlace.com on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Everybody needs a place of their own to plant their family tree, preferably one that no one else can mess with and only you can control. That perfect place is Roots Magic. Roots Magic has been a family history standard for years, and now Roots Magic 7 is on the market. It's an award-winning genealogical software program which makes researching, organizing, and sharing your family history easy. You can start from scratch or import data from other software or even Family Search. Roots Magic also automatically finds records relating to your ancestors from MyHeritage, Family Search, and soon Ancestry and Find My Past. You can use it to create beautiful charts, reports, and books. And have you ever thought about making your own family history website? Roots Magic can make that happen too. And of course, there are free videos, guides, and technical support to help you along. Isn't it about time you planted your family tree? Whether you're a beginning genie or experienced professional, Roots Magic is the perfect tool for you.
Well, genies, my personal family history researcher who sends me new information day and night has sent me some incredible new records and newspaper stories lately. Hi, it's Fisher, and the name of that researcher, by the way, is myheritage.com. It's the hardest working service in genealogy, looking for records of your family 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, even while you're sleeping. How does it work? MyHeritage uses hundreds of algorithms to match your ancestors to over 5 billion records from around the world, and with 97% accuracy. That means no more wasting time figuring out whether or not a match really is a match. I hear from listeners all the time who are shocked with how much information is accurately found and then passed along. And now MyHeritage will translate your ancestors' names into English or any other language you like from foreign records. In fact, it works with over 40 languages. No one else does this. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned researcher, you need myheritage.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andMe.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andMe.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andMe.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andMe.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andMe.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andMe.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andMe.com.
And welcome back to America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, and it's preservation time. Talking to Tom Perry from TMCplace.com. Tom, you're doing the little happy dance coming in the studio today. You found new software, didn't you?
Yeah, I get excited over new software. It's just like the kids on Christmas Day.
Yes, and what does this do?
Well, it's called Toast Titanium 16. It does some amazing things. What you want to do, as soon as you load it and you're kind of looking through and checking things out, you'll see a little button that says Advanced.
Yeah.
Make sure you click on that, whether you're an advanced player or not. You want to look at that. And what it does is it opens up a whole bunch of other really cool things that you can do with this. You can do DVDs, you can do Blu-ray, you can do all kinds of just absolutely incredible things. But one of the funnest things about it is those have been listeners with us for a long time. Remember when we used to talk about Cinematize, how it was great for taking playable DVDs and editing them? This is Cinematize on steroids.
Oh, really?
It is so, so cool. Like, you know.
Now, wait a minute. What happened to Wondershare? I mean, this was the latest, greatest thing a month ago. What's going on?
Okay, you're getting a little ahead of me, Hillary. We need to back up a little bit. They'll work together, and I'll get to that in just a second, but let's stick with Toast Titanium. So what you can do is whether you have had us transfer your videos, your home movies, whatever, to DVD, or one of your local places or whoever has done it, you have a video that's called a TS file.
Okay.
And this really confuses people. They think,
but they're all TS files, right? All videos,
correct.
Right?
If you buy like a Disney DVD, any kind of a thing that's turned into what we call a playable DVD, that is called a TS file. And all you need to do if you want to check this out is take any of those DVDs, pop it in your computer, and then double click on it, not to play it, but just to look what's in the folder, and you'll see a TS audio and a TS video.
Right.
Now, the reason for this is back when DVDs first came out, everybody was scared that everybody was going to copy everybody's stuff and sell it on the black market.
Well, they were probably right.
Yeah, they probably were. They probably were, because they could see what happened to the music industry,
Sure.
how that got hurt. So they were scared. They thought, well, let's do this so then people can't copy DVDs and then people won't be doing it. Well, the bad guys always figure a way to do it. So the bad guys, they copied, they sell them. You know, I've been in some South American countries, and I mean, you walk into some of these malls, and they have movies that were just released, and it's just crazy. They've already got them.
Wow.
Basically, who it hurts is mom and pa, you know, the honest people that, you know, would like to do some neat things. So now with this new Toast Titanium, you can take this DVD that somebody's made for you, and you can go in and add chapters where you want. Like, for instance, when we usually transfer disc, we put a chapter every 5 to 10 minutes so if people want to skip ahead.
Sure.
Which, you know, it's not going to be in a specific place, you know, right maybe where a scene ended. Where now with Toast Titanium, you can go in and at a certain spot put, here's Grandma's birthday, or here's Aunt Mary's christening, or whatever different things are going on. You can go put these different titles. So then when you give this to your family and say they don't care about, you know, certain things, but, oh, this is really important to them, they can jump right to that title and watch it. Just like on a movie DVD that say you've watched a movie over and over and over again, like Back to the Future, but there's a couple scenes you just love to watch over again. You don't need to watch the whole movie.
Right.
And so you can go right to these titles and say, hey, you know, I want to watch where, you know, Marty's doing this or whatever. And it gives you the option of making a DVD that's not going to sit on a shelf, that people are actually going to use it.
Wow. So let's get to Wondershare now. Where does this leave Wondershare?
Wondershare goes in and does all different kinds of things. The neatest thing about Wondershare, it's more like if you have stuff that you want to convert to MP4s or convert from MP4s, convert to MP3s, they do so many different things that will bog your mind. There's even some stuff I looked at and go, well, what the heck is this? And the neat thing that I love about Wondershare is they are constantly giving you free updates. And after the break, we'll go in and talk a little bit more about some new things you can do in Wondershare since the last time we talked about it.
We'll get to that in 3 minutes. This segment has been brought to you by LegacyTree.com.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Extreme Genes is sponsored in part by 23andme.com, a personalized genetic service that helps you understand what your 23 pairs of chromosomes, your DNA, say about you. 23andme.com gives you a snapshot view of your DNA with more than 60 detailed reports on your health, traits, and ancestry, plus tools to explore and compare your DNA with family and friends. 23andme.com is the first and only genetic service available directly to you that includes reports that meet FDA standards. Here's how it works. Order your DNA kit from 23andme.com. Provide your saliva sample from home and mail it back to a CLIA-certified lab. Then you'll be notified when your reports are ready online. You'll also receive ongoing reports as new genetic discoveries are made and as 23andme.com is able to clear new reports through the FDA. See why more than 1 million people are experiencing their genetics with 23andme.com. Order your DNA kit today at 23andme.com 23andme.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities, and it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's top 10 tips for beginning genealogists from the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. And we are back for our final segment of Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. This goes way too fast, Tom.
Wow, it does. It really does.
And it's preservation time. Tom Perry's here from tmcplace.com, and we were just talking about a very wowie new software. It's called Toast Titanium 16.
Correct.
And we were talking about all the things that can do. And then what about Wondershare? Because that was the latest, greatest thing. And so we were just getting into that, Tom. Fill us in on what Wondershare can do for us as compared to Toast Titanium 16.
Okay, yeah, Wondershare is great. It's kind of, you have a sedan and you have a pickup truck. They both are used for different things. That's how these two are. We've talked about DaVinci because it's such a great program you want to have. And if you get the basic model, it's free. We've talked about now that all your stuff is transferred, what do you do with it? You want to get heritage collectors, which will let you do fun things with it. If you have some discs that you need to go in and add the titles, that's what Toast Titanium 16 is. And then Wondershare is kind of the top of the hill, so to speak, of everything. I mean, it does so many things I get lost in. It's just absolutely incredible. It's just like, opening up a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get till you bite into it, but they're so cool.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And the neat thing is, these people at Wondershare, I don't know of anybody that's a software developer that stays on top of it and listens to their clients like Wondershare does. And so it's so cool. We had some questions. We thought, it'd be cool if Wondershare would do this. So one of my techs wrote him an email and said, hey, this would be really cool if you did this. They came out with another model less than 30 days later, and it had it in it.
Really?
I mean, these people really, really listen to you. And that's one thing we talk about on the show. If you have questions, write me at asktom@tmcplace.com. If you're using software and you have ideas to make it better, don't think that you don't know anything, that the technicians know more than you do. Write them a letter and say, hey, I would really like your software if you could do this, this, and this, and they'll listen to you. It's a lot like heritage collectors. You write to Marlo and say, hey, Marlo, can you do this? Can you do this? And if he can work it in the next version, it's there. So even if you've got the very highest end cameras and you want to, get Aunt Martha in that interview of her family history and you want it to look like, you're Steven Spielberg, you can take that really high end stuff and put it into Wondershare and still edit it. And the neat thing about Wondershare too, is like a magician that has a black box. You can put anything you want into the box, and then you decide what comes out. You break an egg in there, and if you want a dove to come out, you have a dove to come out. I mean, it's like magic. You want to do MP4s. You want to either go to an MP4 or away from an MP4. You want to use AVIs, MP3s, all kinds of things. It's so cool. In fact, with the new iPhones that just came out, they've got some very specific software. So you've got this video that you just love. You can go and take that video and put it into Wondershare, and it will automatically make it into the exact kind of file type you need for your Android, for your iPhone, for your iPad, whatever you need. It's instant. It's not like, I got to go from A to B to C to D.
Wow.
And so the neatest thing, which I have pushed since we started this show, is I'm here to help you in any way I can. I would rather have you do as many things as you can do. And if there's some things that's, over your head or you don't have the time to get involved in, we're happy to help you. There's people across the country that are happy to help you. But whatever you can do by yourself is awesome because it's fun doing it. And Wondershare makes it really, really easy. It's like drag and drop.
All right. So really quickly, what's the big difference between Wondershare and Toast Titanium 16?
Okay, the thing I like about Toast Titanium 16, it's easy to actually make DVDs, make CDs, go in and take DVDs and edit them. Where Wondershare is more of a conversion thing, like the magician's black box. You put the broken egg in and you get a dove out. So you put different things in and format them to whatever kind of file you want them to be.
All right. Great stuff, Tom. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you again next week.
My pleasure.
And this segment has been brought to you by 23andme.com DNA. And that wraps up our show for this week. Thanks so much to Bill Griffeth from CNBC for coming on and sharing his story about the discovery that his father wasn't his father. Yeah, DNA strikes again. His book, of course, is The Stranger in My Genes. Catch the podcast if you missed any of it. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, The Weekly Genie, at extremegenes.com. Talk to you next week. Thanks for joining us. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.